Welcome to Rauta's album reviews, one of the very first of year 2025. This is from December 2024, so quite fresh from the oven, yet not exactly 2024 anymore. The Gates of Slumber comeback album, a band that was already thought to be disbanded for good for quite a few years. But something happened along the lines, even if the original lineup is no more. Rest in peace to one of the members in the band. This band, however, came back when they were having a comeback gig in a way, or not maybe comeback gig is a right word to describe it, but a certain special gig, special event at a festival. So when the band had, it seems, good enough time with their music and all going to memory lanes, who knows what, they decided to do more music, and this is their first album in many years. And luckily for those who are Doom fans or fans of the given band, this is good news for them. Svart records release, that is a Finnish label, doing a release for Gates of Slumber, a band from United States. And what we are having here is essentially epic doom or trad doom, depending which school you want to use for this kind of music to describe it. Metal Archives simply lists this as doom metal, so don't expect anything of sorts of like death doom and the like, or not really the overly epic either, because, well, sometimes these borders are very vague and people are gonna fight for it. I guess I've met just enough people along in the doom scene that are more fierce about their true doom, true this, peer one, whatever, than a lot of black metal elitists. Whatever you want to call it, I don't really care that much, but let's talk about the band and then the music within. So what started already in the late 90s ended in 2013. So a few years this band was absent because Jason McCash had quit the band and then unfortunately deceased also. So the band went and decided to call it quits, and that was for a few years. 2019, however, they really made the comeback. And now if you take a look at this Metal Archives listing for their discography, it's quite big, quite vast. Lots of demos, lots of EPs, lots of splits. And with splits and EPs comes also with compilations, which there are few. But nothing really happened after 2013, except for first some, EP and singles, but no album until 2024. So it took quite some time. But then again, like I said, the band was disbanded, so maybe we should just throw the line here in 2013 when the final EP came out. And until that, until this later album, nothing else but a live album came to be. And now we're here with the sixth album called The Gates of Slumber, simply self-titled album after so many other names. So this is some 36 minutes of doom metal, the classic ways. As such, doesn't really come as a surprise that the songs are more on the lengthier side. However, nothing too fanatic about it. These mostly ran about 5 to 7 minutes, so there's that, or maybe 5 to 6 minutes on average, but still long enough for a lot of bands to feel like it's too much. But luckily for us who are not, hardcore doom fanatics, they don't overextend their stay like say 10, 12 minutes or whatever, like some other bands seems to be, like falling too much in love with their own riffs and such, and killing their interest with too much repetition and all. So this comes with 6 songs and, only 36 minutes, which I think it's kind of a sweet point for a lot of albums, including this one. And it's pretty simplistic, as you saw with the unboxing already. It's a threefold digipack with no more cover than a simple logo, which I think works nicely because the logo is nice to look at, and sometimes all you need is a little bit of simplicity to go with the music, which this is very much supporting. Most parts, this album is pretty much slow tempo, as you can imagine from a trad doom metal band. There are, however, more energetic parts which get, makes this enough versatile. So it's not just one trick pony doing it all over again for 6 times. And some of these parts are more into world of kind of like classic heavy metal. But obviously we're not talking about the British school of heavy metal. We're talking about a little bit different. Something that lies between the so-called trad doom and basic heavy metal. So if you're now thinking of names, yeah, I can pretty much just sum it up by showing you the similar artist tab, and that should give you a rough idea what's going on. So when you see more or less bands like Saint Vitus, River Bizarre, Pentagram, Lord Vicar, and eventually Black Sabbath, Sirit Ungol, and all that stuff, should put you in the world of where roughly we're going. So as you can see, some of the bands like Grand Magus and Black Sabbath are obviously more heavy doom than just pure doom metal. And down you go the list, it gets even more versatile, like High on Fire being more stoner doom, etc. But like I said, I wouldn't really call it this epic doom, because epic doom tends to be a little bit different. So, for example, when Candlemass is listed there, yeah, obviously this band throughout the career has some similarities, but for this album, I guess just doom metal does all the necessary thing, because this is very much like traditional thing, and that's where this Black Sabbathness kind of comes to be. The riffs are kind of a basic and in a good way, good fashion, old school, slow tempo and all, but like I said, there are parts where it gets just out of the comfort zone, if you will. And for the vocal parts, I mean, they are really nicely done, and they're actually like things of, vocals, more clean and then the raspier ones. But we're not talking about black metal raspiness, obviously. This has nothing to do with the more screamier sense of all that stuff. More like something that you would probably find if you were to enter thrash metal scene. But obviously the riffs have nothing to do with that. So we're only talking about vocals in that sense. On top of these quite simplistic, but nicely flowing, nicely going riffs and compositions, you have pretty fucking fitting production, which in my opinion really supports the music here. That is, the drums sound heavy but organic, so it's kind of a retro-ish versus compared to a lot of contemporary modern day bands that kind of try to kill any kind of organic matter in the sound, if we can call it organic in the first place. After all, we're talking about instruments made of not too many organic parts, apart from the wood parts with guitars and drums. But let's be honest about it, we're not talking about some old-fashioned shaman cymbals dating some 1,000 years ago. So once again, obviously, when we're talking about in the world of metal and plastic, this is pretty much as organic you can go without sounding just, horrible. So the sound is really, really good in terms of music. Whether we're talking about the drums or guitar sound, it's very fitting for this kind of stuff. So this is more like, in my opinion anyway, more timeless than just, retro sounding. There are so many retro sounding bands in the world of extreme metal and doom metal, heavy metal, what have you, which tend to go a little bit over the board. Like they're trying so hard to sound old-fashioned, they're kind of like forgetting that this is more about being timeless, not easy to put your finger on a given year and say this is how it should be sounding. And this is sounding, in my opinion, quite nice because of all that stuff. It's nothing over the board in terms of, whatever you want to call it, or old school or retro or, once again, timeless. So in my opinion, this is very, very well-balanced things. Whether we're talking about vocals or bass, guitar, drums, whatever, things fall in place, they click with one another, and that makes this rather good for a doom metal album. Now, obviously, you have to be a doom metal fanatic, or a fan at least, to like it a lot. For example, I have a hard time liking most doom metal bands, so I'm not the first guy to tell you about, like, giving you a lecture of doom metal and bands, praising them, do whatever. But from my perspective even, I would say if you like the kind of a traditional doom, this is something you should be totally checking out, whether you're a newcomer to the given band or an old existing fan. So, good news for you guys who have been waiting for the Gates of Slumber album come back, and those who didn't even thought it would be possible, here it is, a testimony to something eternal in a way. So give it a go. Obviously, links are provided in the description box, and should you like it, go buy it, as the saying goes. Maybe worth noticing that here are the formats listed. So digital, obviously, but CD and vinyl, depending which one you go. I would say go for the LP if you have a vinyl player and you get to choose from limited colors, because this should be still available coming out late 2024. But at least check out the music from streaming links if possible, and I hope you like it. Take care.